So this covers what to say a holistic approach where we'll be covering different technologies that comes under AI. Okay, so
Okay.
AI consider it as a larger subset or a bigger umbrella. Okay, under that there are various things that is happening. Okay, so there is a programming language mostly preferred. It's not mandatory, but mostly preferred because of its uh, advanced uses and different versatility nature. So basically Python. Then you
Okay.
have your mathematical modelings, or when we say we want to have AI. So AI is basically something which we are going to look into the future, right? So
Okay.
we have some code language which is called as machine learning that will help you understand how to make predictions for different kind of data. So let's say when we talk about AI, so everything revolves around data. Okay, once you have your data, you have your model or you have your AI capability. Based on that, you can understand what is that I am desiring, whether I am able to analyze the future outcome or not. Okay,
Sorry, Abhishek. Could you please come again? What
yes.
does machine learning mean?
Machine learning is basically a simple code program or an algorithm, right? So
Okay.
it's a basically an algorithm that will help you understand the predictions based on different data that we provide. Okay, so
Okay.
this
Okay.
machine language,
Historical data.
yeah, any
Okay.
historical data will be fine. Okay, so let's say machine learning, when you are trying to focus on machine learning, it can be done with any sort of code, but for this course sake, we'll be focusing more with Python, and then we'll be taking deep dive into some AI concepts, which includes deep learning and other neural networks. Basically, when we call as deep learning, there are neural networks, our brain functions. So there are
Okay.
networks that is connected. So I'll give you a brief about everything. It is just an overview. Okay, so that will
Okay.
cover different things. Yeah. So we'll start off with Python introduction. Okay, we'll understand basic Python programming, how it works, what are its variables, data types, control structures, loops or functions, how we can handle files, uh, how does Python works in object-oriented paradigm, what are the
Okay.
OOPS concept that it withholds, and then different libraries that we'll be dealing with for data science. Okay, so there are different
Okay.
libraries. So NumPy is basically for your array manipulations and a lot of mathematical computations. Pandas will cover your data frame structure. We'll come into it. I'll explain what is a data frame. But a data frame is a kind of data that you are providing it in code format, okay, to analyze. And then there is some visualization tools which will cover your matplotlib and cbor. Okay,
Okay.
and all
Okay.
the things will be doing it with Jupyter Notebook. Jupyter Notebook is just a GUI for Python. Okay, that will
Okay.
help you uh, deal with writing Python codes. Even you can
Okay.
perform analysis, create functions, create methods, or you can even write a single piece of code. You can even write separate code blocks for machine learning models or try different models. Okay.
Okay.
Then we have,
Is this Jupyter notebook used in the real time as well by the company
yes, yes,
or
yes,
any?
yes, yes, you
Okay.
have told Azure, right? So in
Yes, Azure.
Azure, yes, in Azure, there is an Azure ML Studio.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so most
Uh-huh.
of the times when you say DevOps spectrum, so there are
Uh-huh.
different pipelines that is dealt with, right? So
Exactly. Yeah.
let's say one of the pipelines will be called as collecting data and performing the EDA for you. This is where
Uh-huh.
EDA comes into play, your exploratory data analysis. Okay,
Okay.
so this exploratory data analysis will help us understand the data, what that data is, what it asks, and how we can deliver the model.
Okay.
Then we will go in. So let's say one pipeline you build for EDA, then one of the block is in the pipeline is for model. So model will predict. One of the pipeline will be to perform an alerting job or give a notification, something like that. And then there is a final output. So all this will this is a part of one complete life cycle. So collection of
Okay.
data, performing the EDA. So it starts with the business requirement. So once you have your requirement, you will understand you will collect the data, you will have the understanding of the data, you will model it a little bit to make it into your desired state where it is feasible and easy to draw out models from it. Okay, so that is our
Okay.
machine learning comes into play. So that's where we'll be performing different machine learning techniques. Okay, there is supervised, unsupervised model evaluation. Okay, so this is just an roadmap kind of thing. We'll go
Okay.
deep into it, so one by
Okay.
one.
Okay.
Then we'll come into deep learnings. So when we have basic understanding of machine learning and how it works on different datas, right? So when I say different data, let's say you have some data which you don't know what to do, and there is no such kind of thing which we want to have predictions for. Okay, so from that data, you want to group it into some kind of categories where you can identify that these are the groups. Okay, let's say
Okay.
you are performing uh, there is a flower data sets from different regions, and these
Okay.
flowers you will classify it based on the let's say sepal length or petal length. So you will use that data information and you will group them into one category, and likewise you will group other flowers into some different categories, let's say a number of categories.
Okay.
So
Okay.
the
Okay.
supervised machine learning goes with a data where we have a label. Let's say we have a historical data. Let's say
Okay.
uh, to make it more relatable, let's say I'll say there is a medical data that ask us to identify whether the patient has a diabetes or not. Okay,
Uh-huh.
so from the
Uh-huh.
historical records, we'll take out for let's say thousands or 10,000s or n number of patients we can use for model training. We'll train a model will have
Okay.
different parameters like BMI, age, or anything, height, width, gender. So based on that,
Okay.
what we'll do is we'll understand it, and there will be a calculated uh, diabetes score. Let's say a diabetes metric score you will have. So where it will say whether the person is a diabetic or not a diabetic. So in that
Okay.
case, we'll perform some sort of classification. Let's say we want to identify the diabetes score, then we'll go for the regression techniques where we'll be predicting the exact value. Classification is a binary thing which says yes or no. Okay, so it's a kind of binary identification. Okay, and
Okay.
there will be different model evaluations. Okay, for either super whether we are using regression, we are using classification, uh, and whether we are using unsupervised learning. So there are different scores which will tell us that how good our model is. Simply by
Okay.
building a model doesn't mean that we are going to get a result. There are a lot of
Okay.
things that is involved that we'll be covering in that.
Okay.
Then
Okay.
once we have
Okay.
the basic understanding how machine learning works, what are the uh, output parameters, or what is features and what is hyperparameters, then we can have an understanding of deep learning, where we'll be understanding of neural networks. Then we'll be building a neural network and we'll be using different frameworks like TensorFlow and Keras. Then we have this optimization techniques, which we called as hyperparameters, which will be optimized and see how how our results varies.
Okay.
And then we'll deep dive into some of the neural networks architecture. So there is CNN, there is RNN, there is LSTMs. So I'll teach you everything in detail, but
Okay.
for time's sake, let's just stick with the overview. So then there will be different transfer learnings, and then we'll be cover one of the main in demand uh, uh, area of AI, which is NLP, which is the natural language processing. So you might
Okay.
have heard about lot of hype around GPT engines, Chat GPT, or
Yes,
Google
yes,
is
yes.
launching Bard, Gemini. So that is a large
Yes.
language model, but the basic principle behind is the NLP. So how to understand a sentence. Okay, so these are different techniques that will help us to understand a particular sentence.
Okay.
Have a word embedding in the vector space. Okay, I'll tell you in detail more about it, but
Okay.
for time being,
Okay.
there is a vector space which will associate a particular array of array value to it, and then from that we'll find the closeness of the value. Let's say
Okay.
if I am suppose I'm writing a mail, so you might have seen in Gmail, you might be getting some sort of recommendations, right? So as you said,
Word
yeah.
limitations.
So at the end, let's say you write best, so it will automatically give you the recommendation of regards. So things like that. So
Yes.
those are probably your natural language processing models that is giving you that particular output.
Okay.
And there
Okay.
is text generation, as I said. So with LSTM, so LSTMs is basically a long short-term memory units. Okay, so we'll see, and then we'll wrap up the things. So
Okay.
these things will be covering in the course, but
Okay.
we'll be starting off with a refresher session on Python. So you don't have to worry about it. It is very basics. If you have a basic programming knowledge in any of the programming paradigm, you can easily able to grasp it.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
I will check
So
one thing. So with
yeah.
this course, like, will I be able to crack the interviews by keeping 6 to 7 years of experience or something like that?
Yes, probably I'll be also providing you the course content, which will include the notebooks that we'll be practicing or will be building models for. There will be set
Okay.
of questions that is mostly asked in the interviews. So there will be, I'll also add some advanced concepts questionnaires,
Okay.
which will be
Okay.
useful for uh, the years of experience that you hold. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
so
Yes.
that I'll be adding in the questionnaire section.
Okay.
So
Thanks a lot for that.
after each of the unit that we complete, let's say I'll complete Python, I'll give you the set of questions and
Okay.
also a basic programming. What I can give you is the basic idea what they can ask on programming if they are going to ask. Okay,
Okay.
so
Got it. Got it. And sure.
so starting off with a little overview what Python is, why and how. So, and what all installations that you will be needing in order to do your what to say coding for
Python
Python, or
programming.
will, yeah,
Okay.
and some basics understanding how Python syntax and comments and structures like that, and then what are the variables, data types, then different operators, control structures, functions, file handling, object-oriented programming concepts, different principles, how we can implement in Python, and different libraries that will come across. But for today's sake, we'll cover till functions, or
Okay.
if time permits, we'll cover the file handling because it will be too much for one day session. Okay,
Okay.
so let's start with this. So to give you an overview, right? So understand like Python is something which is very versatile in nature. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And why Python is preferred? Because there are two major programming languages that is preferred for machine learning model building. One is R and one is Python. Okay,
Yeah.
because of its simplistic nature, if I say so, it is very versatile and very simple to understand, or even to write codes. You don't have to write long structures, or you have to define all the semantics, methods, and everything, then call upon that. So, like you do in Java. So, it is very simple in nature,
Okay.
and it withholds the capability to deliver different kind of use cases or needs to an user. So let's say you are into DevOps or any or ops related work where you are
Mm-hmm.
item is to automate lot of the things CI/CD, or let's say you want to automate your test scripts, everything. So
Mm-hmm.
it will help it will help you to automate your tasks. It can help you to develop websites. You can use it for web development. You can use it for software creation. You can create a software and integrate with an exe file or uh, whatever need is there. As I said,
Mm-hmm.
automation is repeated twice. It is used for data analysis, machine learning model building, and even for uh, concepts like NLP and different AI, large language models, or Gen AI. So all these things is so Python provides support for all this kind of developments, and basically it is being used by different industries. So to name few, there are the logos which is clearly identifiable that they use
Okay. Yeah.
Pythons. So it has different
Okay.
frameworks, obviously. So Python is a programming language, so it has different frameworks on top of which these things are built, basically. Okay, so
Okay.
it is
Okay.
very stable and reliable kind of programming. So you can use the structural paradigm or the procedural paradigm. You can even use oops paradigm. So before we proceed, we want an ID or an interface where we can do programmings, right? Or we can write our piece of codes. So
Mm-hmm.
that's
Mm-hmm.
where Anaconda is one of the software that gives you lot of different Python toolkit. So it's basically a toolkit which compromises lots of different softwares in it. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so it will give you an kind of direct link to an interface where you will be having your Jupyter notebooks, and it will also help us to give you an environment where you will be installing the dependencies required. So we call
Okay.
that particular thing as Conda environment, or even you can use pip. So these are the two things that are used, pip and Conda.
Okay.
So just to review, so it follows different programming paradigm. It is very scalable and reliable. And in order to do the programming, I mostly prefer Anaconda because it will give you Jupyter notebooks. It will even give you VS Code integration into it. It also gives uh, a lot of, say, let's say spider notebooks and all those kind of integrations for you. So if you can
Okay.
share your screen and just Google download Anaconda, you will get the first screen, the
I
first link which
have
is
already
available to you.
I have already downloaded. Probably I can show you.
Yeah.
1 second. I'll just share my screen.
uh, have you used this before, like you
No, no.
already have?
No, no. This is the first time I've just installed it,
Okay,
and I've just installed uh, what is that? This one,
Jupyter Lab.
Jupyter Lab, and
Okay,
uh, and sorry, I've installed Jupyter Notebook and
okay,
Spider.
okay.
Yeah, I've installed these two things, and I have created environment also,
Mhm.
and why it's not launching.
Takes sometimes a little bit longer. Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
Yeah. So it gives this directory structure for you. Okay.
Okay.
And
Uh,
you can basically what I recommend is to
no.
I can hear my voice echoing, just a second. Yeah. So basically you follow a particular folder structure where you will be keeping all the learnings in one place, so for different modules and units. So,
Okay.
and
So
inside
that
that
one we
only,
are creating a folder structure, right?
yes, yes.
Okay. Uh, I have created some Python basics. This one,
Okay, so
Python
this
basics.
is basically a
Sorry.
notebook.
Sorry.
Uh, can you stop sharing your screen? I'll just demonstrate you. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
My voice is echoing maybe because of the recorder. Anaconda will give you the complete set of installation along with the environment necessary setup which will be required in order to run your Python scripts. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so the extension .ipynb.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay, remind me later. Is it that we have to sign it up? Okay, so we have different ID for different use cases, right? But you can definitely go. So that is one thing. Spider is one interface where you can write your functions, or let's say if you have a modular structure for your Python code, that's where Spider will come into play. But we are more concerned about the unit level of
Mm-hmm.
implementation. So for this complete course, we'll be using Jupyter notebooks. But
Okay.
it is just that it gives you the code blocks, and the Spider by default doesn't give you that particular code blocks. You have your you can create a file, a Python file, and then you can simply write your Python code as you wish. So if
Okay.
I launch my notebook, okay, yep. So let's say this is my particular directory structure. Not
Mm-hmm.
now. Okay. So let's say I'll keep all my particular projects under documents. So
Okay.
files and folders. Yep. Okay. And let's say if I want to create a new, I can create a new
Mm-hmm.
notebook, I can create a new file, I can create a new folder. So let's
Okay.
say I'll create a new folder.
Okay.
I'll keep Python AI ML tutorials. So
Okay.
this is my particular directory, and
Okay.
now what I can do is I can keep all my files in an organized way into this. So let's say I want to create a notebook, right? So this notebook will
Mm-hmm.
have an extension of .ipynb. So a Python
Okay.
notebook. Basically, it means it
Okay.
is a Python notebook. So
Okay.
let me launch a notebook. So it asks me for the kernel. So let's keep it for the default kernel. And here is this name of the notebook. By default it comes as untitled, but you can click on it and you can rename it as you want. Let's say
Okay.
Python tutorial, and I'll rename it. Okay, so this is the blocks that I was telling. So it will execute the Python commands in this particular blocks. Okay, I can add
Okay.
multiple blocks as I need. I can add multiple
Okay.
blocks, but I can it gives me the advantage to run one block at a time, not the entire code, so that I can understand that what part goes wrong. Let's say I'm installing some dependencies, so instead
Mm-hmm.
of writing the complete code in one single block, so I can install the dependencies in one block, and I can just import the dependencies, and then I can use it for my piece of functions. I can call upon that functions, or I can write a driver code for it in
Okay.
different set of blocks. So that is the
Okay.
advantage of using this Jupyter notebooks.
Okay.
So
Okay.
let me come back to the present. So as we already have Anaconda installed, so it saved a
Mm-hmm.
lot of us time. And so let's start with uh, making our hands dirty with Python. So
Okay.
Python is a very simple programming language. It is just like telling your computer to do what you want in simple English language. So let's say for a simple greeting message, I wanted to print a simple greeting message, right? So the first program usually we encountered in any uh,
Programming
computer
languages.
programming, what we learn is the hello world.
Yeah.
So let's start with that. So this is our first hello world.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want, you can also set up your notebook and can go along with me if you want to. Okay, but
Yeah.
I'll
Okay.
anyhow I'll share these notebooks with you as well. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
okay. So if I have to new share. Okay, so you can you see my notebook, Python
Yes.
notebook? Yeah. So
Yes.
let's say I use a simple print. So print is basically a inbuilt method. So you don't have to write very lengthy piece of code, system in, system out kind of thing. It is as simple. So it's a simple method which will say, okay. So let's say it will have a parenthesis. So inside it,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you give, it will print, but it should be valid. Okay. And to
Okay.
run this particular cell, let's say we call it cell. So if you want to run this particular cell, so there is this play button which will execute this particular cell. Or if you are using a Windows, you can do I think shift enter, that will run. So eh,
Shift enter. Okay.
yeah, and let's say
Okay.
if for me it is Mac, so I'll do the shift return. So it will run this
Okay.
particular cell for me. See, so I'll get a hello world printed to me as I wanted. So
Okay.
it is very simple programming language. And then let's say whenever I write this statement, whatever, let's say if I write anything inside this print method, so whatever I write, it will ask the machine to read it and print it. So these are the activities that is happening.
Okay.
So
Okay.
so we write lot of comments when we write programming. So to make it understandable, because right, let's say we'll write some piece of code today, but 1 week later when we'll come back to it, we'll be not remembering what we have written.
Mm-hmm.
So how other people can understand. So it is very important to write comments, as we all know. It's a
Yeah.
standard practice. So
Yes.
how we write comments in Python is there are two kinds of comments. There is a single line comment, which is written by this hash notation. So whatever you write
Okay.
after this hash is a single line comment.
I'm okay. I'm seeing the Jupyter notebook only, Abhishek.
Uh,
So
One second. I can add this. One second. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
yeah, now I'm seeing the PPT.
So the single line comment is simply written as
Hash.
by giving the hash, right? And
Okay.
if you want to write the multi-line comment, so you want to have some kind of explanation for each of the things, so you can use this a triple quotation so whatever you will write under triple quotation opening and triple quotation closing, so under
Okay.
that it will be treated as a multi-line comment. So let's say I'll just simply copy paste it from here and okay. Yeah. So single line comment, or I can add it to here also. Let's say I'll add it as a greeting message. So this will be treated as a single line comment, and it will understand that there is something which is a comment, so we don't have to do anything with it. So
Mm-hmm.
do not bother about it. So even if I'll run this particular thing, so I'll only get the desired output what I want. And even if I want to write something, let's say multi-line comment for greeting message, anything. So with triple quotations, it will understand it as a multi-line comment, and even if I'll execute, it will not give me that particular error. So it understand that this is a comment and this is a comment. So these
Okay.
two are the kind of comments, okay,
Okay.
we use and will be using in following our course. So coming back to the presentation, right? So we covered the basics, and then the real thing which we will be using mostly is the variables. My screen visible, right? The presentation.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So variables or different data types. Okay. So variable is anything, you can have anything, but it is just that you cannot start with any number. You
Uh-huh.
can start it with a single underscore or double underscore. You can even start with a letter and then followed by number. Not a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
okay. So basically, if you want to uh, define something, so there is a variable which will contain some value, which is John. Okay, so
Okay.
name is our variable and John is the value that it holds. So
Okay.
this is a simple example of how variable is defined. You can have any variable, but the standard practice is to use the exact variable names. Okay, so make it more understandable what this variable contains and what is the information that it variable will hold. So most of the people write it as I or E or single letter word. So you can do that, but that is not desirable
Okay.
because
So
it
variable
can,
will
yeah.
always have a double quotes.
No, not like that. We'll see that when we'll come to the data
Okay.
types, right? We can understand
Uh-huh.
what these variables
Okay.
can hold. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So
Got
this
got
is
it.
one of the
Uh,
examples you might have heard
Okay.
about different data types. So
Uh-huh.
in this, there is the data types are classified into two types. Okay. The first is the primitive types, integers and floats, strings, booleans. So John, basically what you say is a string. So whatever you write within single quotes or a double quotes, uh, by assigning it to a variable, it will understand that it is a string. So the user
Okay.
has provided it as a string. Let's say I'll just share my this with you again. Okay. So let's say my notebook is visible to you, right?
Yes, yes.
Let's say I have variable one. Okay. So which says 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So I can declare this variable, but it will do nothing as of now. It is just declared. So let me write a print statement for it, and I'll give you where one. Okay, so let me
Okay.
just execute it. I'll do the shift enter. So I have 1 2 3 4, but we don't know what 1 2 3 4 is, whether it is 1234 or whether it is a string representation. Okay, so if
Uh-huh.
you want to test it, you can simply use type, that is another method. Okay,
Okay.
which will give you the, should
Type.
give type, see, so it will give you the type of this particular variable. So it comes under the class string. So
Okay.
this is a string, and let's say as soon as I change it to this, let me re-execute it, so you'll get it as int.
Classing. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
if I do any decimal representation, I'll run it.
Okay.
See, it will
Okay.
commit to float. What else we have? Boolean. So let's say if I give it as true, see,
Bool.
it
Okay.
will take it as bool. So see, very
Okay.
simple it is. Just define whatever you need. Print statement, you can print, validate. Type is to give the type of that particular variables, the value that that is there in that variable, what type of value it is, you can know by this type method. Okay, so
Okay.
these are the very basic type which we have worked in different programming languages, but there are few important types in Python, so which is common with different programming languages also, but Python has its different importance in terms of, let's say, complexities. Okay, in terms of time complexities, when I say in terms of iterations, so uh, there are different uh, 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 data types basically that comes under your complex types. So
Mm-hmm.
these are the list, tuples, sets, and dictionaries. So let me show you one by one how these are defined. Okay, and so let me just give a comment. Okay, list data type. I will use control C. Let me add more cells. Set or sets, whatever. Okay. And we have, so these are the main data types. A list is basically your a kind of array data type. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
let's say I have a list one which will contain some items, but it can be heterogeneous in nature, not like arrays, which is a homogeneous data type. So you can withhold a single data with it, single type of data with it. But here you can have different primitive types. So let's say I can hold as vehicle, I can hold as, let's say, any age is 25, or let's say you are a male, and at 25 we can directly give it as this, you're a male. So uh, if I say that I'll say did pass schooling or not, so some values as
Mm-hmm.
bool also, right?
Okay.
And I can simply, to see data, let's say if I'll simply run this cell, it will do nothing, it will just assign. But if I want to see my data, what I can do is I can print my variable. Okay, and then it will give me this particular thing.
Okay.
And if you
Okay.
want to, okay, it doesn't
Type
give
of.
it. Okay, if you want to check the type of it, and so you can see that it comes under class list.
Okay.
Similarly, a tuple is something which is a kind of list, but just defining it as it contains the parenthesis. Okay, so this is whatever inside it is a tuple.
Okay.
And it is an immutable data type. Just 1 second, I'll just have some water. And Yeah. So it will same like list, but the way of defining is something different, and it is a kind of immutable structure, so you cannot change the values. So if you change in between, so it can give you different kinds of errors. So you can define it in same fashion. You can give all these things. It is also heterogeneous in nature. I'll just
Mm-hmm.
copy paste the things. I can see print one, then we can do simple print type. Yep. And if I run this cell, so I can see my data and I can see my classes tuple. So we didn't do anything, right? With this is just the change of
Parentheses.
brackets, yeah, that we do the parenthesis in place of square brackets that we did here, and it understood that it is a particular this particular data is tuple, or the variable contains a tuple data. Like similarly, a set is something which is, let's say, it is just the curly brackets that it will have, and it is also heterogeneous in nature, but you cannot have duplicate values in it. Okay, so if
Okay.
I just copy paste this and I'll put for this to this, and I'll send it. So you can say it will contains, but as soon as, let's say, I add vehicle, which is a duplicate entry, and if I try to do that, so whatever way you will define how much duplicate data you want to define, if you are going to fetch this particular set, it will always give you unique entries. It will not give you the duplicate values.
Okay. And I could also observe that there is a the output is not as the input which we have given.
Yes. So
For
input, you can have lot of duplicate values, but whenever you will
no,
be,
no. The order of the output. For example, like in
yeah,
the set, we have first given we cool 25 m and true, but in the output, it has come as we cool m 25 true.
yeah. So
So
it
m and 25
uh
are interchanged.
this, yeah, this is which is not predictable actually. So
Mhm.
this is not predictable, so it has its own set of evaluation. So
Mhm.
let's say while assigning or while reading, so it does in parallel. So all the indexes it reads in parallel, and whatever the value is read first, it's returned first. It is not a hard and fast rule that it will give something like this only every time. So
Okay.
this is that representation. So
Okay.
this
I
is a
mean, you mean to say that it gives unordered output.
yeah, yeah. It is
Okay.
not an ordered thing. It is an unordered structure. So,
Okay.
okay. And dictionary is something, let's say, if I have to define a dictionary, what what a dictionary will be is a set of key value pairs. So this
Mm.
also comes under curly braces, but there will
Okay.
be a key. Let's say there will be a key one, and it will hold a value one. Okay. So
Okay.
likewise, separated by commas, you can have key two, and you will, sorry, the value can be of any nature. Okay. And if I have to print this, so you can see that this is what our dictionary key value pair is, complete dictionary,
Okay.
and this is the dict. Okay. uh, and there are different methods to access, even by the keys or even by the values you can get the keys. So by through the keys you can get the value. Let's say if I do print of my variable name and I am searching for something called as what is the value of key 1. Okay, so give me the value of key 1. So it contains value 1. Okay,
Okay.
similarly if I do key 2, it will give me the value 2.
Okay.
Okay, so and obviously it is an ordered structure, so the way you define the rest of the types is order structure apart from sets. So
Okay.
so this is how you get keys. Let's say you want to explore whatever. So this is for understanding purpose. Let's say whenever you are stuck or you don't know what type of methods that you can use with this particular dictionary variable, you can always do, let's say I'll just comment this off. Can I do with this? Okay. And let's say I want to check what are functions it holds. So I can simply use the dir method to check. Okay. Say these are the different kind of things it has. Okay, so it has
Okay.
keys, it has items. So whenever I will do items, so it is an iterator. So it will iterate over the items. Okay, if it has values. Okay, so if I have to do, let's say these are the different things. Similarly, you can do for list also. If you want to do for your list, you can do just dir list one. It will give you the set of methods that you can use with it. You can add some items to it. You can see the class get items. There are a lot of different iterator methods, and then there is this append method. So so basically we'll be mostly focusing on lists and dictionaries. Okay, so
Okay.
if you want to add something to our list, right? So in between, let's say you want to add at a certain stage, after coding for a while or writing the program for a while, you got to know that there is some more data that you want to add to your list, particular variable. So you can simply use an append method. So everything is a dot notation. So I'll just cover it for this class, but I'll tell you in detail how this comes. Okay.
Okay.
So that it will be good for you for your learning.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
when I'll cover the oops concept, then I'll come up with this. Okay. I'll
Okay.
come back to this. So if I want to append something, let's say I want to append some new entry to my list. Sorry, I have to remove this dir. Yeah, I can simply append it, and if you want, you can use your, let's say, print list one. Okay, I can have print list one before append. Okay, and I'll give a comma. I can add multiple items for printing by using the comma.
Uh,
Okay, you can
okay.
add multiple things to print. It has a
Okay.
limitation, sure, but not, I'm not very sure, but you can use 5, 6 commas to print whatever you want. Okay,
Okay.
list one now. And similarly, give it a comma separated by list one. So list one after append. So let me just print my this. See, so before
Okay.
append, whatever we have is available, and after the append method we have a new entry at the 0 1 2 3 4th index, which is, so the indexation starts with 0. You
Okay.
should, okay, so by 0 it travels through 0 1 2 3 4, like that.
Okay.
So
Okay. All
okay,
these methods will be covered later again, right? So actually, I have some queries like if we want to
yeah,
remove any values in a list and all those things.
yeah. So
So,
let's say you dir, right? So whenever you have this kind of confusions, what you can do is you put your list one, see whatever kind of methods available for that particular data type. You know that this
mm,
is a list, and
yeah.
I'll print this also. comment this also. So let's say you know that it is a list and you want to see what all the methods that you can use. Let's say you want to remove
Correct.
some item, you can use the pop method. So the pop method will use the last in first out. So the whatever the last value is, it will pop that particular thing.
Okay.
So if I use dir, you can see there will be a remove method, there will be a pop method. So let's say if I
Okay.
want to use a, I'll use pop and I'll use remove also. Okay.
Okay.
So if I want to use list dot pop, pop is simply which takes like this and needs an argument. So I'll give a 0, or I think it takes a value. So the value is whatever you want to give. Let's say I want to pop 25 or index. No, int object. Okay, it takes index value. It is pop list or it doesn't apply to int object. Okay. So it will not take the int variables, rather than it will only take the values which is on strings. Right. So if I want to remove vehicle, yeah, it did. Append is somewhere. Why it is calling append? Oh, there's some issue. Let's see with the remove method. Okay, I want to remove. Just a second, I'll just
Okay.
check on this. Just give me a moment. Usually it doesn't do like this, but pop. Simply do a pop. But why it is not taking? It is the correct I'm giving. Can move. Okay. That is strange. Something which is not. Oh, my bad. So what I did actually
Oh,
is
list
I did
one.
give the
Okay.
correct name only. So
Okay. Okay.
so if I'll do that and I'll print your these things. Okay. Remove. You can see that vehicle has been removed. Okay.
Okay.
And let me just do this and reassign the values. Okay, we can comment this TIR part now. Yeah, so we have this. We can before pop. Yeah, so before pop we have this. Let's say now we are going to use our pop method. Make sure the name is correct. So basically, as I was saying, the pop takes the index value. So
Oh,
you have to you can specify the index, and you have to, let's say if I give 1, so whatever is present at the index 1 will be popped out, right? So if I run, you can see, so it will give you that particular value out from it. Okay, so this
okay.
gives me whatever was present in the this particular index, and the remove
Okay.
index will remove directly from the entire value that you have assigned to this particular variable. And
Okay.
this, let's say this this comes in handy. Let's say if you want to assign a new variable and I want to take it for some let's say you are building a model which says my model 1 predictions will be a mathematical thing, so age, uh, let's say age into 10 by 100 something will do. Okay, so and I want to print my model output. So that's where this pop method will come in handy, and you can simply run it to see that this is your particular model prediction output. And just a
Okay.
mathematical, a very simple approach. So
Okay.
so this how different methods will work. So the pop takes the indices and it will only give you that particular value, and the remove will remove the item from the list. So but you have to specify
Okay.
the value over there. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So
One query. Could you please type DICT and for list uh, to DIC for
okay,
dictionary for list
DI
direct dir for list.
there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, uh, uh, so here we can see there is like first if you see like underscore add underscore class underscore what are these
Mm.
things? I could understand the below part pop all those things I could understand, but this one I did not understand. Underscore add underscore
This one,
class
right?
underscore. Yeah, yeah.
So uh, I'll tell you this, but I'll give an overview. So
Okay.
it follows an object-oriented paradigm. So when you say that give me a type of this particular variable, so it says
Mm-hmm.
you it's a class, and that class is a list class. Okay.
Right.
So this particular class has various inbuilt methods that has been defined. Okay. So these are the inbuilt methods. So each inbuilt methods has a different thing to be covered that I'll tell you, but usually, so these double underscores, right? We do not interfere much when we are doing for normal assignment. We don't do much. So when we
Okay.
are in more into towards development, no. So when you have
Uh-huh.
development and you want to tweak the class parameters and methods to get your
Mm-hmm.
desired values, then you use this
Mm-hmm.
particular double underscore methods, your iterators and different methods that has been defined and it has been kept private. So that's where double
Okay.
underscore and single underscore comes into play. So it says
Uh,
that it is a particular method which is kind of abstract method, and you don't interfere much with it unless and until the need arises. And a single underscores demonstrate it is a private method or a variable. You just don't change it anyhow in your code. So that is a development style paradigm when you have your software development, right? Backend development, API development. So in these kind of things, these are used very commonly. Okay, so
Okay,
as you can
okay.
see, there is
But for us,
add.
it is
uh,
not required for AI development and all these things. These
no,
are
no,
not
this
required.
is this
Okay,
will be not be required. So that's why to limit the sake, I'm not covering it entirely. Okay,
okay,
and
got it.
these methods will be usually used. Okay,
Okay,
most of the
okay,
time. There
okay,
is a copy methods for copy, and there is a insert also. There is sort. So
okay,
insert will help you. So you can go ahead and explore more on it. But the insert method, you just copy the insert and simple do a Google Python insert method list. So it will give you all the parameters that it takes. It usually takes the items that you want to insert, like the append we provided, and it will also takes the index value. So that
okay,
particular index, it will assign that particular value. Let's say I want to assign it to a third index, it will assign that value there. But that is more of a development kind of uh, what to say understanding. So this will completely focus on the data. So mostly will be for doing the EDA, right? So we'll focus on the EDA part. So that's where few of the things will come into play, but not much of dealing with list also. Very little,
okay,
but mostly we'll be dealing with dictionary and data frames.
okay,
That I'll cover later. Okay.
okay,
So for
okay,
dictionaries also, you have keys. You can if you want to do dot keys, it will give you all the keys that you have. And okay, let me remove the dir. Yeah. So it will give you all the keys it contains, like key one, key
okay,
two, and you can simply see, you can get a count of it and things like that.
okay,
Okay, so these are the basic data types, but we'll see more methods when we'll be doing with different data, different libraries of Python. And when we'll be
Okay.
dealing with datas and how to collect data, read data from different files, and how to store it into our variables. At that point of time,
Okay.
we'll see most of the use cases and different methods also, right? But
Okay.
for time being, I have told you that you can use dir, so you can just
Okay.
explore it, what all the things you can do.
Okay.
So
Okay. Sure.
coming back, we'll just take one or few topics and we'll close it
Okay.
for today, and we'll can resume it. So
Yeah.
you can see my slide. Right?
Yes.
We covered the variables, primitives, and complex types. So you tried without, try with different values. Let's say assign any value or any syntax for your name. Let's say any naming convention that you want to define for your name with underscore. Try it out, see whether you get errors or whether your variables was assigned or not. And you can explore this multiple data types also, and you can try it out for timing whenever, like when we have
Okay.
till we have next class. So
Okay.
I'll cover operators for now. And what is the time exactly? Okay, it's way long, so I'll cover just the operators. Okay,
Okay.
because it is a very simple thing, and then from tomorrow we'll see the conditionals.
Okay.
uh, so this is a very simple thing. Operators is basically different kind of operators that we have come across programming languages, and we when we write codes. Okay, we perform different arithmetic operations like addition, multiplication, subtraction, modulo, and power to the power, raised to the power. So this double star means
Okay.
raised to the power. Okay, so
Okay.
2
Okay.
double star 2 means it will give you the output as 4.
Okay.
So
Okay.
directly you can directly assign, you can perform the operator functions, and you can directly assign it to a variable. So in a single line code. So it is as simple as it. There are comparison operators. Okay, double equal to, that means this value is equal to or not. It is not equal to, greater. So basically less than, greater than, less than equal to, greater than equal to, uh, and our logical operators, which says that these are the keywords basically, and or
Okay.
not. These are the keywords which we can perform. Okay, and
Okay.
is a sample code that I begin, but just to show you this, let's say. And there is something which you can add. Let's say I do a cell. How can I add a mark? So I can also choose to what kind of cell block I want to add. Let's say I want to
Okay.
this cell block represent code, okay, where you can write
Okay.
your Python code. I want to give some sort of headings, understanding everything, okay. So I can use this markdown. Where did it went?
Okay.
So this is a markdown. This is not a code right now. So markdown languages work differently. Single hash means it is a heading one time kind of thing. Okay, operators. Okay, and I can just, yeah. So it will give you a heading for it, and then you will
Oh,
have your code
okay.
block. So this is your code block, and this is your markdown. Even let's say if I want to edit, and you just for the editing sake, if I give something in double, it will be header 2. Let's say understanding operators in Python. Okay, I'll give it what happened. Okay, whether it stopped. Stop the kernel, restart the kernel. Okay, my keyboards are stuck. I'll stop the share for a while. Just save this notebook. And reference heading. Okay. So you have your link to Markdown reference also. You can always visit in the basically settings. You have your where did it go? In the help, you have your Markdown reference. You
Okay.
can check with it, but for me, it is not going in the next block only. Okay, it is working as expected. Operators. Earlier it was working, but suddenly what happened? Controls are also not working in Markdown. Never mind. I'll just see what are the fixes for this, and we can come up
Okay.
with next class. But like you saw earlier, it will give you a kind of heading for your execution blocks. So it will
Okay.
give headings like whatever you are trying to implement. So it will give you a clear understanding for you and any other users who come back for, let's say, a few times later, or you want to
Okay.
continuously visit this particular code block to understand what it does. So you can add it using the Markdown. Let's
Okay.
say I want to apply. So this add and all, right? So just try to avoid these keywords. So dict is a keyword. So that's why I used dict one. Set is a keyword. That's why I used one after it. Tuple is a keyword. Okay.
Okay.
Because this is a keywords in Python and there are method defines. So try to avoid naming the variable as key one. So let's say I'll give adding addition as 5 plus 10. So in this directly also works. Okay. Okay. Why? Okay. Yeah. Now it is working. Okay. So I can get the result as 15. But
Mm-hmm.
similarly, let's say, as I said, right, power is also a keyword. So I'll just define. So as I said, you can give double star, which will denote as power, and you want to print your variable.
I think the spelling is wrong.
Yeah. Okay, there's something wrong with the kernels usually happens. So let's say I'll save this first. Shut down all kernels
Mm-hmm.
and let it stop, and I'll restart. Something wrong. I'll just close this and I'll go to I'll reopen it. Yeah, we hope this time it works. Okay. Yeah. So as you can say, we get 4 raised to the power 2 is 16. So likewise, you can perform different operators. You can also compare operators like if I directly give 16 not equal to 4 and I went enter, it will give me a boolean value. So
Okay.
this will basically returns, most of the time will returns the boolean value, the comparison operators. The
Mm-hmm.
logical, let's say if I want to perform a logical operation, let's say mm, if I say 4 and 4, I don't know what will be the output, but yeah. So it performed the AND operation between 4 by converting it into binary format, and then the output which it returned is again 4. If
Mm-hmm.
I say 5 or 4 or any, basically for bit manipulations and development purposes, we use this, and it works if I give 5, it will give me the boolean value. Hopefully 5 invalid syntax. I think there's something with this keyword. Okay, it gives me true, but okay, it is asking me whether are you asking questions or not, but give me the output as true. So basically it is done for comparing things and see to perform bit manipulations also. You can also use bit manipulations, but I don't know whether it will work. So the bit operators also you can use in Python, but I don't know whether it worked.
Okay.
It worked for this also. Right, so these were the operators that we covered, and I'll share these slides. Okay, so we covered the operators till operators. Will resume from the control structure, where we'll be see the different conditional statements, that how we write conditions in Python. That's where it will make more sense to use this logical and comparational operators.
Okay.
And we'll see
Okay.
variables and data types. As we have seen, you can experiment for now. You can write, you can do multiple variable assignments, see by writing different print statements, by providing different sort of values in different structure and different format, and explore how it gives you the output. Okay, you
Okay.
can go
Okay.
with that. We already had on content install and the basic Python overview. So we'll continue tomorrow, okay? And